And welcome. Welcome to today's session. Today is around CRM, efficiency and engagement, and really getting your team to leverage technology with this really popular acronym called CRM, right? Customer Relationship Management, right? And I, for one, have been using these systems for over 20 years, coming close to that, anyways. And every company that I've worked for, every business that I consult with, every person that I coach has flirted with the idea of CRM or is currently using it and has a slew of challenges with the system. And it's almost like, you pay big bucks or you invest in a gym membership and there's all this shiny equipment, but you're not sure what equipment to use. Or maybe you don't even go to the gym at all. You pay for the membership, but you don't go, right? So this is what we're going to tackle today. We're going to tackle a few things around CRM and sales efficiency. And my hope is that you're going to walk away with some new information that's going to get you fired up and allow you to at least leverage your system 10%, 20% better than yesterday. And then every day from there on, you'll get that compounded interest. Okay. Before we get started, in the chat, just write down, where you're chiming in from. Where are you chiming in from? What towns? All right. I'm here in Markham, Ontario, right now, in Canada. All right. We got somebody in Ottawa, Ontario. Awesome. Woodbridge, Ontario. So a lot of people in Ontario. Jacksonville, Florida, right on. We almost have Florida weather here today. It's great. We got sun and heat finally. Put the parkas away. Detroit, Michigan. Excellent. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And we've got a few polls. We sent out a questionnaire at the beginning, but we're going to start just with a general consensus around how CRMs feel in your day-to-day. So why don't we go ahead and launch the poll and get started there. So question number one, maybe this is an individual thing. Maybe you do have a team, but at the end of the day, be honest with yourself or from a team perspective. How would you rate your teams or your current CRM usage? Is it like on point, 100% every single day, fully integrated, or is it one of those things that's collecting digital dust? Let me see the answers to this. It'll be up in a second, I assume. There we go. Look at this. So not one, very consistent. We've got somewhat consistent, used regularly, and inconsistent. Some team members use it, others don't. Not surprising. Not surprising at all. This is the norm out there. Okay. Let's launch the next one. What is your biggest CRM challenge that you're facing like right now, right? Is it data integrity? Is it actually using them in sales meetings? Maybe you don't know how to fully use it, getting buy-in from your team. What is your biggest challenge with the system today? Get that response up in a moment. All right. Getting team buy-in and keeping data clean and updated are the two most common. All right. Pop the next one up, please. How often is your CRM data reviewed in sales meetings in particular? All right. So I'm thinking revenue generation meetings with your sales team. How often are you reviewing this stuff? Wow. Some occasionally, but a lot of rarely. We mostly talk strategy or performance and not leveraging the CRM itself. Okay, let's do the next one. Which best describes your sales team's view of the CRM? I love this question, by the way, because I talk to people every single day. Do they see it as a valuable tool? And on the other end of the spectrum, do they see it as, Big Brother watching their every activity, or maybe it's just an afterthought. They don't even think about it at all. They're like, yeah, I don't really deal with it. Necessary, but a bit of a chore, mostly admin work. Then they try to avoid, yes. I'm surprised I didn't see any big brothers on there. That's good. That's a good sign. People are starting to recognize the value of the systems. And I think as we navigate a more and more digitized world, that these systems are just going to get more robust and more um, welcomed in day-to-day life. Are there any more polls? Is there one more, or was that the last one? We got one more, I believe. Yes. Okay, so what is the most valuable thing you'd like to learn from today's webinar? Is it a repeatable system to get your team on board, more structure in meetings, all the above? You tell me. Tips for turning CRM data into action, repeatable CRM routine, and a bunch of all the aboves. Okay. Well, I'm going to do my best today to meet your expectations of helping you create more engagement and really turn a CRM into a more efficient tool on a day-to-day. Okay. I'm gonna start by sharing a story. And this one, as I mentioned, I started using CRM systems about 20 years ago. Okay. And one of the things that I needed to use it for is because I was in a sales role. Started using it. I was at Purelator, working in a national accounts function. I was managing $22 million territory. We were a team of 6 in Montreal. And part of my role was bringing on new business on a consistent basis. So I had transitioned from being a farmer to a hunter. And that became my role itself, where hunting new business, rolling it out was ultra important. And I had to really have a pulse on, hey, how much business am I bringing on, and forecast when that business was going to be brought on so that we could implement the resources. A lot of these accounts were very intricate. They were very involved, right? There was contracts that needed to be negotiated. There were systems that needed to be implemented, hardware systems, multiple locations. Logistically, we had to position trucks in different places. Sometimes we even staffed our own staff on site for some of these new accounts that I was bringing on. So it was ultra important for me to be able to clearly communicate what was coming down the pipeline so that we would be ready when this business came on, and we can justify the expense and the ROI itself. Okay. And when I was at Purelator, my boss got let go. He got let go, and the guy who took over his role, he had literally just started. He'd been on like 2 days. Okay. And I gave my notice. I was moving on to a different company, moving out of the province, and his face just dropped. He's like, What do you mean? Like I just started here, man. Like, what about all your accounts and all this stuff that you're working on? Like, what are we gonna do? How could you drop this bomb on me? Right? And I was able to do or to respond in confidence that everything was in Salesforce. Everything was in the CRM. Every contact was clean. Every opportunity was updated. Every pricing file, agenda of the last meetings, quarterly business review, you name it. I had attached all the emails. Everything was attached and entwined in the system. So I gave him my 2 weeks, and we spent, some time together reviewing the information, and it made it so absolutely simple for him to pick up where I'd left off, and when he hired somebody, make sure that they had all the information they needed to be successful. Because traditionally in sales, pre-CRM systems, it was really on the individual salesperson to keep their own information. That's why we had Rolodexes. Remember those Rolodexes on the desk? Right? Casey, you probably still have one kicking around, right? And then, you have random business cards everywhere. You've got your email Outlook that you would filter through. You've got numbers in your phone. It's all over the place. I remember a time when you'd go to the phone booth and you would tear a sheet out of the yellow pages, and that would be your leads list, right? Your opportunity list, and you would check those off, right? So, but those days are behind us now. And when those people would leave, they would take all that, I'd call it intellectual property, with them. So it would leave companies hanging. It would leave companies hanging in many cases when they lost their top salesperson. So for me, when I think of the importance of CRM, it's not only just about building a rhythm and using it and documenting everything, but as an individual contributor in any business, in my business now, I want to leave a legacy. And by capturing all of this valuable data in a single location to drive results and not only grow business, but help others along the way, that to me is a beautiful thing. So we can look at it that way, leave it as a way that, hey, do you want to leave feeling guilty, or do you want to leaving a legacy? That's what I used to tell my salespeople. Okay. And you know what their answer is going to be. They're going to want to leave a legacy. Of course they are. They want to leave on good terms, right? If that ever happens. So that's like part of the thing. So, but one of the things that CRM also offers is a lot of other things. Let me share my screen. I'm realizing it's not sharing anything yet. Where is the share button?
Green button.
Yeah, I don't see it. There we go.
Got it?
Yeah. Oh, it's disabled. You got to get me
Your
in.
co-host. Go ahead. Sorry, Chris. You're good.
There we go. Thank you. All right. You all see my screen now? All right. So this is around the why. Why, I gave you my personal reasons as to the why, but there's a lot of other reasons why you should position a CRM for your team. And the first one is skill enhancement. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, we are living in a more and more digitized world. And AI is moving very fast. And quite frankly, most CRM tools are going to be AI driven in the next 60 to 90 days. That's how fast things are moving. Salesforce is already AI driven with Einstein and so on and so forth. So you want to continue upskilling your team And implementing and creating a rhythm with CRM assists in that skill enhancement, not only for yourself as a sales leader and as a business owner, but for your team as well. The next reason you want to have a CRM system or you want to be leveraging it properly is because you're going to see an increase in sales opportunities. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. That was a mantra of mine in a past life when I was at ITW. I'd tell my sales team, they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm working on this opportunity here, there, and there. And I'm like, okay, great. Show me. Oh, I haven't captured it yet. Well, if it's not, if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. All right. So put it in the system because that's the way I'm going to be able to justify and understand what is the true increase in sales opportunities that exists for our company, for our team, right? CRM systems also allow for consistent feedback, guiding people, creating feedback loops, and recognition. Who doesn't like to be recognized for their efforts, right? And when you track things in a CRM system properly, you can recognize people's successes and do it at a level where everybody can celebrate together. It increases team collaboration. I think there's two L's in collaboration. It creates visibility on what it is you're working on, which helps create accountability and enforce it at a deeper level. Accountability is key in any business, in any role. And it also assists in helping create automations. Remember I said we're digitizing every single week, every single day. The world is getting closer to being this digitized virtual world. I mean, we're on a group call right now, and CRM systems can create automations in the way that you approach things like follow-ups or communications of all kinds of sort, marketing, etc. And the hope is that if done correctly, that you reduce administrative burden. All right. So there's nothing worse than a sales leader or an owner of a business having to locate information last minute, right? Oh, you know what? Owner of the company or partner reaches out and said, I needed a report on this. How many opportunities are you working on right now for your team? Oh shit. What happens? You start calling all your team members. You can't get a hold of them. You're chasing them on email. This is urgent. Get me the information. You're disrupting their day. You're disrupting your day. You got to put it all into an Excel file. All right, raise your hand if you're with me on this, if this has happened to you. Okay. So this is, if you're consistent and putting into the system on a regular basis, you're reducing the administrative burden on everybody in the long run. So really powerful things to highlight when talking to your team about the why behind CRM. Okay, so if you want more engagement, your team has to understand the why. They need to understand the why. And these 7 points are super valid whys to help them wrap their head around it. Okay, and help them understand that, look, guys, it's not about Big Brother. We're not just trying to track your every move here, your every activity. Look, we want to help skill you up, increase your sales opportunities, give you consistent feedback, collaborate at a deeper level, hold you accountable, create some automations in your workflows, and ultimately reduce the amount of admin you have to do, even though you perceive it as being an administrative burden. Because that's not fact. That's a perception. If you were to calculate the amount of times that you had to call and collect information last minute and put it all into a place and then did the math and reverse engineer it, you could totally justify it. Okay. Awesome. Any questions around the why? Perfect. Just write in the chat, what did you hear in this? What's the one takeaway around the why that you captured from this? What's the one takeaway? Where is the chat here? Mhm. One takeaway. One takeaway. Anybody can chime in around the why. Why is CRM important for your team? I love it. Each point in the why. Okay, thank you, Christy. Yeah, I would certainly agree. Math behind reducing the administrative burden. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about the CRM frustration, right? Why CRM systems fail? Okay, we'll just start there. And the first reason is low engagement. All right. Reps see it as admin work. They don't understand the why. And I just helped clarify, why these systems should be used. Okay. Another issue is poor training. Poor training and no process. Okay. And this is because most of the time when CRM systems are implemented, there's no rhythm built into the workflow. It's, hey guys, here's the system, fill it out. But as leaders, we have a responsibility to help people get into a rhythm, to coach them up so that they're using it, increasing engagement, and there's a process that they can follow. You're only as successful as your processes. And process requires consistency. Okay. And the next one is there's no clear value to the user. Okay. If managers use it for reporting only and not for coaching and not to support the team member in driving results and helping them create efficiencies in their day-to-day, of course people are going to be frustrated and you're going to get low engagement. Okay. So we need to shift the mindset. All right. So that's the CRM frustration triangle, I call it. And, if you were to write in the chat here, which one of these three is your team stuck on? Are they stuck on no process? Are they stuck on no clear value? Or, is it simply that they don't understand the why when it comes to low engagement? Write that in the chat. No clear process. And they don't understand the why. Yeah, great. Perfect. Excellent. So let's talk about CRM success. Okay. So when it comes to CRM success, what we need to make sure we understand first is sales clarity. Okay. What do I mean by that? I mean that CRM has to tie in to your goals and your objectives in your business. So if you don't have clear goals, revenue targets for each one of your team members, you're not gonna have success in your CRM because they don't know what they're shooting at. They don't know what the target is. So it's ultra clear and required that you have revenue targets tied to each one of your team members so that you can build a pipeline that supports those targets. And what I put a star on right here is the PPI. I taught this in a previous webinar a few months ago, called the Precision Pipeline Index. And you can download the free toolkit on my website right now, Precision Pipeline Index. Maybe maybe you can put the link in the chat. Okay. But what that formula is if you know your sales target, your revenue target, and you have a good idea of what your close ratios are and what your average opportunity size is, your average quote, your average PO, okay, you can build an expectation around how many opportunities do you need to have in your pipeline to succeed. Because what happens is there's no clarity around how many opportunities should they have. We tell our team members, hey, make sure you put that in the CRM. Hey, you don't have enough in the CRM. Okay, but how many should I have? Well, I don't know, 20 or 30. Okay, why? So when you use the Precision Pipeline Index, okay, and I'll encourage you to go back and watch the video on my YouTube on the Precision Pipeline Index, because the webinar is there, as well as the toolkit. Download the toolkit. You'll understand how to get sales clarity when it comes to a CRM so that you can guide your people. They'll know if they have $1 million target and their average opportunity size is 100,000 and they've got a 30% win rate, that they need 30 opportunities in the pipeline, because it's the law of averages. It's math. Make sense? Beautiful. The second is legacy building. All right. If you can get your team to really position themselves as, motivate them to want to leave a legacy versus just be an employee. And it doesn't work for everyone. I get that. All right. But if you really want to help them understand that, hey, if you've got this promotion coming up, this potential promotion, all right, and they're leaving a legacy in their path so that the person who takes their role when they get the promotion, you're gonna see a lot more success with the system, because they're positioning it as helping others. To me, leaving a legacy is helping others. Okay, it's not just about them. It's about helping their colleagues and the future people in the organization. So you want to communicate that in a way where you're leading by example and helping them understand that at whatever level of the organization they are, they can leave a legacy too. Okay. And then the next one is the ROI. All right. You want to be able to track ROI. And I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. So sales revenue is the key indicator of return on investment for salespeople. But there are different types of sales roles, right? You've got some sales roles that are really technical, specification driven in the construction space, right? You've got technical salespeople who go out and meet with engineers, and they educate engineers on products, and their role is to secure specification of those products in upcoming projects, so that 18 months from now, over a year from now, when that project breaks ground and they start building, for example, that hopefully that product that they got specified in the project gets purchased. So you see that return, that PO generated year and a half, 2 years later. Okay. And there's a lot of distributors that have people that do that stuff. There's a lot of manufacturers and manufacturers reps. So one of the questions that comes up a lot in organizations is, hey, how do I justify the ROI of my salespeople, particularly the ones who aren't generating POs? They're doing spec work. Okay. So when you've got a CRM system, you can justify and track the return on investment at a deeper level, so you can demonstrate it to the other partners in the business. So technical sales has a long sales cycle. You can build an opportunity pipeline specific to those specification reps, for example, that says, hey, stage one, they went and did a lunch and learn with the engineer. Stage 2 of the sales cycle, they were added to the specification library. Stage 3, they were added to a project alongside competitor products. Okay, so they're not guaranteed the spec, but their job doesn't end there. Once that project is approved and it goes to bid at the contractor level, then the outside salesperson and that specification person should be collaborating on it, because now that opportunity is turned into an actual project that's being tracked, and they can go and influence and make sure that they keep that the product that they got specified is actually installed, and they can overcome the roadblocks that get in the way with the competitors, etc., together. And then once that PO is generated, you could tag that PO 18 to 24 months later to that original lunch and learn that individual contributor did a year and a half ago. And as you collect this stuff over a period of time, you can really get a snapshot of the output and the return on the investment on that resource that you're investing in your business. So ROI tracking is going to lead to more CRM success. Make sense? All right. At the end of the day, look, CRM isn't just about deals. It's about proof. It's about proof. We all need to. It amazes me how many times I've worked with manufacturers rep agencies. They roll out a CRM system, and then that A player that they thought was the A player on their team, okay, ends up getting exposed. Ends up getting exposed because he's been riding a wave of some sort, he or she, and, got lucky. There's a lot of repeat business happening. But when it comes to generating new incremental revenue, it's just not there. So this is why people get scared. People get scared of CRMs because they're afraid to get exposed for their weaknesses. But that's okay if you use it as a feedback loop and you use it as an accountability tool and a recognition tool. They don't have to worry. You're not there to punish them. You're there to help them. All right. So if you're going to implement a CRM, you need to get people into a rhythm. A rhythm. And in the PPI download, okay, and added it into the chat there, go and download that toolkit. There is an agenda there. Okay, that breaks things down, and I'm gonna capture it here on the screen in a moment. But there's team agenda, and then there's individual rhythm that you want to coach your team members in adopting on a regular basis. Okay, and this is a way. The best way to do this is to make it non-negotiable. Walk them through this rhythm, and you hold them accountable to it. But most importantly, you lead by example in your own way. Okay. So the 5-step CRM rhythm really is, look, you got to make it a daily habit. If you're catching a team member who's only filling stuff out once a week on Fridays, they're going to miss information. We forget half the stuff we talked about within 24 hours of each discussion. So you need to do a daily minimum 15-minute check in with your system, update, and ideally you're doing this first thing in the morning. You could do it at night if you want, all right? But if you're doing 15-minute check-in while coffee's brewing, because what you're going to look at is you're going to look at what follow-ups you've tagged in the system. You're going to look at the opportunity pipeline so you can prioritize where you should be spending your time today. You're going to look at any messages or tasks that were assigned to you, right? So just 15 minutes, daily habit. Encourage your team to get into that habit and hold them to it. Okay? Then you want to get into a meeting rhythm. All right? And I'm going to talk about that down here. All right? But you want to hold meetings specific to this to reviewing the information and using that info in a really powerful way to drive results. Okay. Over and above these things, you want to ensure that every single opportunity is added to the system daily. All right. Remember what I said earlier? If we don't see it, it doesn't exist. So one of the things that I used to do with my team members is, when I'd call them on a daily basis or do a check-in or run into them in the office, it's like, hey man, I'm just curious. Did you tag any new opportunities today? And, have you updated? Did any move forward in stages? Oh, yeah, not yet, but I'm going to get right on that. Or yes, I did. And perfect. What support do you need from me to help move these forward quicker? Okay. So you want to get into a rhythm of updating opportunities daily. And then you've got your activities. Okay. What I mean by this is that don't just track your tasks, not just tasks. Track the activities associated to each one of the opportunities. So anytime that you go to a meeting and you're moving things through the stages of the sales cycle, register an activity and attach it to the opportunity. Because what that's going to do is that's going to get you in the habit of thinking about the sale. Because what happens often with salespeople is they'll just go and visit a customer for the sake of visiting a customer. And that's human nature. You want to build a relationship, you want to get to know them, but every 80% of your sales calls should be an actual sales call, not just a customer visit. So by tracking the activity, not just tasks, but looking at it for context, okay, make sure that they're filling out the notes and there's actual context there. You can give feedback based on the story that you're seeing, the way that they're approaching their sales calls. Because you're not on every sales call as their sales leader with them. And you wish you could be a fly on the wall so you could give them feedback to help guide them. And this is your best bet in doing that. Feedback. So once you've got the rhythm in place where they're doing a daily check-in on their system, you've got a regular ongoing weekly or bi-weekly meeting, okay, with the team, and they are updating opportunities on a daily basis and the activities, then you can give really solid feedback as a coach. Okay. Not by email, not by sending a report, but in your one-on-one with your team member, where you can take a look at this stuff, assess their rhythm, help them get back on it if they've fallen off, drive results. Okay. Awesome. So let's talk about that CRM meeting that I was referring to. And that is, where are you? In the pipeline, PPI, that's the word I'm looking for. So the Precision Pipeline Index has this clearly laid out, all right? But what you want to do is you want to create a frequency where the rhythm I was talking about earlier, that's really on the individual to hold themselves accountable to, and you should be watching to make sure that they're doing those non-negotiables. But the way that we get together as a team needs to be structured so that we can get the most out of the CRM. Okay, so you should be scheduling, a weekly or a bi-weekly, all depending on the size of your team and the scale of your business. All right, bi-weekly, maybe at the bare minimum a monthly. Okay, bare minimum. Ideally, it's weekly or bi-weekly. Okay, where you are reviewing your opportunity pipeline as a group. Okay, and that first part should be about 5 minutes. Opening, okay, and that's where you're just celebrating the wins. Remember, I was talking about recognition earlier? All right, take 5 minutes with your team and recognize those wins that they've had as a group. Ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, been working on this for a long time. Congratulations, PO came in. Everybody give a round of applause to James. Thank you, James. I know how consistent and how many challenges you faced chasing this opportunity. Well done. People love to celebrate together, okay? The second piece is the metrics review, okay? What I mean by that is you need to review the KPIs to hold your team accountable. You need to enforce the system. You need to enforce the standard that you want to uphold, okay? So you review the KPIs around the opportunities. Like how many opportunities should they have? Where are they today? You should look at what your conversion rates are. What are the current conversion rates? Of all the opportunities in the pipeline in the last month, how many closed? What's the average opportunity size? Is it trending up? Is it trending down? You're going to get some amazing insights, right? And then obviously revenue tracking, right? So of the revenue that you generate in your territory or your team member is generating, how much of that actually came from opportunities that they generated themselves, that they chased, that they followed through the sales cycle? Okay, so you do a quick little metrics review. It's about 15 minutes, and you could either assign someone on your team to do it on your behalf. Maybe you can lead it, or you get them to do it individually, and everybody gets 3 minutes. Okay. You know, my target is 100 opportunities. I'm at 90. I'm getting really close. My conversion rate has increased from 30 to 40%. My average opportunity size trend has decreased. It was at 60K. Now it's at 55K over the last 3 months. And you know what? I believe that in the next 30 days, I can forecast that these 3 opportunities are going to close and the revenue I'm going to generate is going to be X amount. They come prepared, no more than 2 to 3 minutes each. You've got all of that information just like that. And you didn't have to look at spreadsheets because they're doing it because they should be on top of it. Okay. The next piece is accountability. Don't mind my chicken scratch. All right. So this is like 10 minutes of reviewing actions from the last time. So everyone should have like a note taker in these meetings, right? You could use like an AI note taker. There's one called Plod, captures everything, recaps it. You can set up automatic emails. Super, like it's like $300 a year, and you're gonna have like a really high quality note taker. You could use read.ai if it's over Teams or Firefly. So many different note takers. Or you can go old school and have somebody take notes and send it out to the team. Okay, minutes keeper. But you want to review the actions from last time. Okay, and just go down the checklist. And what was accomplished? What still needs follow-up? How can I support? All right. Meat and potatoes here, though, is what are the big issues, the challenges that are affecting performance, affecting these opportunities from going through? That should take you about 20 minutes, okay? Where you have each individual team member spend 3 to 5 minutes outlining the challenge. Look, I've got opportunity X. It's worth $1 million. I can't seem to get past this part. Let's talk about it. Let's get everybody's input. Let's see what we can do as a group to try to break through to the next level. And everybody should come with 1 or 2, because you're not going to solve all the problems, but the 1 or 2 most pressing. Okay. And maybe that's things also around the system itself. So I can't seem to fill my pipeline, or I have a low conversion rate. I can't seem to improve my conversion rate, guys. Or, um, you know, things that are need to be addressed to help improve the efficiency. All right. And the fifth step is strategy alignment. So you spend, the next 10 minutes brainstorming on moving opportunities forward. Okay, guys, we talked about the challenges. Now let's look at the other opportunities that maybe they're slow. Maybe we haven't really seen much activity from them. Let's move these forward. Okay. And then the last piece is recapping the action items and assign deliverables. 5 minutes. Okay. So what are the action items that everyone has to leave with that you're going to come back with the following meeting? And again, this is a rhythm, right? If we go back to the CRM rhythm, you've got to have the daily habit and the meeting rhythm. And the only one who's going to be in charge of the meeting rhythm is the sales leader. So handle that as best you can. Okay. The idea here is that you create a plan now for yourself. Okay. If you're already using a CRM and things are doing well, or maybe they could be better, or maybe they're not doing well at all, there really is 3 steps that you need to take. Okay. So I'm going to get everybody to write down what is your 3-step plan for yourself to make sure that you can leverage everything that we've talked about today. And I covered a lot in a short amount of time. Okay. I covered around the why. I covered the reasons there's frustration. I covered the 3 keys to success, the rhythm, and the meetings. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to create just a quick little plan for yourself. So follow along with me. All right. And phase 1 of the plan is going to be just reset and align and realign. All right. So take a look at what's in the CRM today. What's in there? And just get everyone to clean up the data. That's one of the biggest problems with CRM. The data's terrible. So reset, align, get everybody to clean it up. Make that a little effort. Say, guys, I want you to clean up all your opportunities, all your contacts. Make that a little project. Okay. Phase 2 is build the rhythms. Okay. So you want to build those rhythms that I'm talking about, those 5 non-negotiables, as I called them, and then your meeting rhythm. Okay. So get people to commit to daily and weekly habits. You know what those habits need to be now. Just walk them through it. All right. And hold them accountable. Hold yourself accountable when it comes to your meeting, to your weekly or bi-weekly opportunity pipeline specific meetings. There's so much information you can collect in a CRM, but from a sales perspective, it's really designed to driving results, driving accelerated revenue. Okay. And then phase 3 is measure the impact. All right. What I mean by that is show the numbers. Show the KPIs. That's it. You know what the targets are. you know what the KPIs are, and that goes back to what I was talking about earlier is the metrics that we review, right? Opportunities, conversion rates, average opportunity size, revenue, right? Phase 1, clean it up. Phase 2, build the rhythm. Phase 3, start measuring that stuff. And that's how you're going to create sales efficiency. And that's how you're going to get engagement, because you're going to hold them to it. You're going to hold them to this new standard. So, you know, I go back to my story when I was a Purelator, and how when my boss got let go and the second boss was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? The top sales guy is leaving. The reason that I did that, the reason that I was confidently able to leave that role was because I had clarity on all my opportunities. I wanted to build trust and leave a legacy. And that legacy lives to this day. Richard still reaches out to me on LinkedIn. He's retired now, and he still says, man, you know, I love seeing how far you've come in your career. You know, it was a rocky time back then, but you didn't leave me hanging. What a cool story, right? So know that as the sales leader, as the owner of the business, that's what you're doing. You're leaving a legacy, whether you want to grow your career or whether you want to pass it off to a successor, or whether you want to get a private equity firm to buy your business. This is going to help build that legacy. So treat it that way. Okay. And that's what I'm going to end this on. It's all about the legacy. So I'm going to invite you to share whatever resonated with you in the chat. If you have any questions, we've got a few minutes. I'm happy to answer them live. And I hope that of those things that you wanted to get out of today's free webinar landed for you. Okay. Any questions? Take that as a, no, I think I'm good. Here we go. Creating a rhythm. Thank you, Christy. That's a beautiful takeaway. I invite everyone here to reach out directly. Okay. If you go to my LinkedIn or on my website, you can book a discovery call with me. If you want to learn more, if you're struggling with this stuff and you want to, you know, a coach who's going to help you get the results faster, I'm here for you. Okay. Casey asked a question or made a statement. He said, when we had the webinar on the PPI, the first concern I had was how to get to the point of clean data and strong habits. This webinar answered both. Thank you. Okay. Well, you're welcome, Casey. You're welcome. Thank you for joining today. And those resources are available. Pass those around. You know, if you're you know, you're over at Fastenal, or you're over at a large manufacturer's rep agency, you know, download the PPI toolkit, hand it to your team members, share this knowledge. I want to leave a legacy and help as many people as I can. Okay. And that's where I get my fulfillment. So if you're learning and you can cascade it down to them, go for it. Right. And if you have any questions and you want support, I'm here for you. Thank you very much. Wishing everyone an amazing weekend and the end of the week. And we'll see you next time. The next one is on June 19th, where we will be conducting an energy audit. Okay. Meaning, look, we all do things in our day-to-day that drain our energy, and we all do things in our day-to-day that give us energy. So let's dig in. Let's dig in our heels together, understand what gives you energy, what doesn't, and we'll go from there, and I'll help you navigate how to deal with the things that drain your energy and how to leverage the things that give you energy. Take care, everyone.